Let's get started, shall we? Alright, welcome back to Isekai Quartet. Anime Review, episode number 10. We are here reviewing the 32nd episode of the series. Yeah, Popular Online Game. When we started mentioning, apparently Katsuma is skipping school because he's spending out all night basically playing a video game. And he's dragged to school by Megumin. And by the way, in case you're curious though, like in the case of the episodes, we do have referent Easter eggs to other shows. One is kind of interesting, and the other one's the picture. So, then Katsuma is taken to the nurse's office because he can't stay awake. And this is interesting though. So, I'll get to basically, now by the way, the MS Showcast, they're not even in this episode. This is like the second, third episode in a row they're absent? I mean, they probably hyped up the fact, they're in this show, and yet they're not even in the show at all, which is weird. Excuse me. So, basically, here's kind of what happens. So, they play this online game, and apparently, Ainz has been playing it, and so has Nafumi. Yep. And apparently they chat for a while, but can't go to the priest form. And we see, sitting on this couch, we see Shaltair, Megumin, and Rem. We do see a picture on the wall of, I think this is probably the animators probably having fun the fact, maybe one of them might be an Overlord fan, because there is a picture of Shaltair's armor that she wore in seasons 1 and 4 of the show. I thought that was really cool. They even have the javelin spear that she had back in season 1. I thought that was interesting. And that's not the only reference we have here. Well, we have a few other references here. There's no Saga theme reference here. Well, except for basically Tanya being very stern with her troops. And so, in the case of the Raishi here reference, this is interesting because let's put Raphtalia in a Miko outfit, and everyone was like, no. And they think, maybe that's Nafumi Forster. Kind of that's true, except basically what this is referencing is an event that happened at the end of Season 3 that set up the events of Season 4 of the show, where Raphtalia became the emperor of basically her home country. Yep, and the previous emperor they had to fake his death in order to transfer him back to the village. And the fact the actual power was actually his advisor, the one who actually, because the emperor was just a puppet. Yeah, I thought, now in the case of the Shaltair one, I thought that was really cool. The Rise of Shira was weird. I'm like, why the heck would you include it for? And they also have this really weird sequence in this episode where we have Ainz walking the hallway with Chomosuke on his head, and he's talking to Puck about Yggdrasil. Yes, that is the other Overlord reference we have here, is him talking about Yggdrasil. He does not bring up the fact that his friend made the game. It's MMORPG. And Renegade apparently he has this game so much, and apparently the whole thing of the class being so affected by this popular game that they have to make rules. People can actually make a class, which I kind of admit that is actually quite interesting. Now, I don't stay up all night and play video games. I'm sure people do this, but it's not very healthy to do that at all. To stay up all night playing a single video game, it is much more healthier to do it during the daytime when you're more wide awake. But also, I would also recommend taking breaks so that you can actually have some food, have some drinks, and also use the bathroom. Also, just move around. Yeah, just don't sit in one spot, just play a video game all day long and expect to do it at night. For example, what if you have to go to work or school in the morning? It's not a good idea to do that. If it's for a day off, that's fine. But if you're doing it the night before you have to go to work or school in the morning, that's not a good idea because you're at risk of basically falling asleep at work or class. Of course, here's the thing with me. I may stay up a little late, but I actually drink fluid. I drink like I drink like soda or tea to keep myself awake in order to make sure I don't fall asleep at work. Like at some point today at work, I was standing still. Look, no one saw me do this. I was basically ready to close my eyes standing up. So I kept myself together long enough for give you a bunch of customers, and then finally take a cup and have myself a drink of Diet Coke, because I don't drink coffee, so my caffeine is basically diet soda. Yes. So, and then of course, basically, Ein, Nafumi, and Katsuma proceed to go online, and they show what appears to be the Adventurers Guild, and it looks like it reminds me a lot of. Oh, I remember basically what way this setting what it looks like. It reminds me of an anime aired just this year. I left my A-rank adventure party to join former students to explore dungeon depths. That's what this place reminded me of. Reminded me of the Adventure Guild from that show. I'm like, okay, cool. And of course, they'll chat with each other. Yes, people can actually do this. And then Renegade Basic comes in, and they all point out, though, yeah, hi, Renegade. Nice to meet you online. He gets embarrassed, logs off, and then the post-credits scene is the pasta zombie buried from, I think it was just like 2 episodes ago, by Wiz, is rising up again. Yes, pasta zombies. So, for cast members, well, in the case of Saga to Evil, I'd say some of them were there. I mean, Tanya was there, Renegade. I'd say like a couple of the guys were there. And that was it. ReZero was a bit surprising because you just had Amelia, Rem, Puck, Otto, and Garfield. And that's it. For Konosuba, you practically had the main cast here. So, nobody's absent from Konosuba, which is interesting. In the case of Overlord, this is interesting. You just have Ainz, you have Mare, Kaikotis is in the background. Doesn't say anything in the episode, which is surprising. And this is something, though. This is probably the first episode I've seen for this whole entire series where there's no Albedo. You're like, what? No Albedo in Isekai Quartet? A woman who's practically been almost every single episode to date? Like, in the first season show, did not miss an episode. Season 2, it's kind of the same thing. Now, basically, we have roughly 3 more episodes left to go, and then that's it. You're like, really? 3 left? Yeah. And the reason why that is because, well, this was pretty much the 8th episode of the season, so we have roughly 3 left. So, this will wrap up pretty much just before the new year. That's when the season will wrap up, which I find that interesting. Actually, it's actually wrapped up by, definitely by the start of next year. Yeah. So, in the case of Adventure here, well, they only have 4 characters in the show. You just have Nafumi, Thila, Raptalia, and this episode they just had, also they had a Spear Hero too. This one they had 3 out of 4, which I don't think it hurts anything for that show because you have 3 stars there, which is fine. I kind of wish they would include more characters aside from the Spear Hero. Yeah, in the case of, like, it's something interesting, though, about this episode. This is also probably, by far, I think, like, the first episode of the series that I could think of. Aside from Beto, Subaru is not here. You know, the star of ReZero. But yeah, you have Amelia, Rem, Puck, Otto, and Garfield. Also, no Ram this episode either. No Ram, no Subaru. I'm like, not even named Beatrice. I'm like, that's interesting. Yeah, you have 3 primary characters absent. Like, yeah, in the case of Sagativo, Val is not here, which is something because it's like this season so far. What I can tell, it's like, yeah, let's not have the whole cast here for some reason. Not really sure why. Also, they do reference the whole thing of like, oh, if like I think it's like Darkness Kid or something, she gets off. Yeah, that's a reference to the show itself, or Konosuba, because that happens a lot because she loves getting hit with various objects. She's got a very strong body and she gets off on it. Well, that's basically a cage reference that they do in the show, but in this episode overall, you had roughly like 3. The mention of Idrisel, the picture of Shaltier's armor, and the mention of the event that happened in season 3 for Raizo Hero. It just kind of felt this out so far this season. It's like, I would say for like the past 2 episodes, it's like not a lot happens. Like, it's a lot of chatting, which is nice. I like the interactions. I still enjoy that. That's one of the best things about the show is interaction with all these casts. But the problem is, for this episode, there's not much story here. Just all these really cool interactions. And Brady Knickerbocker is only doing 2 characters this episode. Wiz is not here. Yeah, she's not appearing in the show like she's not appearing in season 2 of the show. And there's only 1 episode of this whole entire series so far that she's actually had voiced all 3 characters in the same episode that happened during season 2 of the show. It was the whole thing, the physical examinations, where you had in one scene, you had Philo, you had Wiz, you had Rem, all in the same scene, and you had Brady Knickerbocker doing all 3 characters, which I thought was so cool. Oh, and here's a little fun fact about Chomosuke. I found this out from Reba Bar, who is also the voice of Rem in the show, and also ReZero. Did you know she's also the voice of Chomosuke? Yeah, she's the voice of Chomosuke. Mega means cat. Yep. Not the first, and by the way, not the only animal she ever voiced. She's also voiced animal from this show called Treehouse Detectives, and she's also voiced an animal on Miraculous, The Adventures of Ladybug and Cat Noir. So, nothing unusual for her to do basically a cat, which is cool. But yeah, not much to say about this. And this review is like longer than the episode itself, which I think is kind of hilarious. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the video. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe to notifications. Next, I have a comment corner. And then it's on to Kamen Riders X. Okay, thanks, you. Bye.